Hi, I'm here today with some hip opening suggestions for you. A lot of us, the hips are a challenge because we spend a lot of our days sitting, sometimes in the same chair for long periods of time. And so just our lifestyle is not conducive to being able to move our hips the way they're designed to move. If you watch little kids run around, it's crazy the things they can do with their bodies. And so to try to help with that, I've got 4 exercises that will move the hips in different ways because the joints move in all kinds of amazing, interesting ways when we loosen them up. So these are exercises I'm going to show you, or exercises, they're postures really. And you can hold them for like 60 seconds, 3 minutes would be really good. If you want to be badass, you can go to 5, and that will really get you some improvement in a short period of time. You'll see some dramatic changes. Keep in mind that you always want to listen to your body, pay attention to your body. So anything that you do that creates some sensation like, oh, things are really stretching, that's okay. Anything that causes a pain, that's sharp, that's shooting, that's stabbing, back right off. You don't want to hurt yourself. So always pay attention to your body and modify as you need. And I will show you some ways to do that as we go along. You also may notice that you have differences in terms of your hips. One might be a little more open than the other. That's certainly true for me. If I sit like this in a sort of an easy posture, both my legs are pretty evenly, the distance to the floor is pretty even between them. But if I switch and I bring my right leg in first and then I have my left leg, you can see that my left hip is, my knee is higher, so my left hip is a little bit tighter. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the postures. You're going to want to have a few props to make things a little bit easier for you perhaps. A wall is definitely going to help for the first 2 that we're going to do. So I'm going to scoot back here against the wall, and this first one is going to be kind of a modification of pigeon. So it's going to be about helping the hip to open up and rotate to the side laterally. So I'm going to bring my right ankle up onto my left thigh, just above the knee. I've got the ankle bone off the leg, mostly because it hurts like crazy if you put the ankle bone, drive it right into your thigh. And you can just relax the foot. You don't do anything special with it. The angle that I have here for my left leg is about a 60-degree angle, but it's really all about how close can I bring that foot in without my foot wanting to slide back. So that's kind of the outer limit of what I can do. And then I'm also going to just rest my right arm, my forearm, on that right knee and just rest it. I'm not really pushing. I'm just laying the weight of my arm, give it a little bit of extra zhuzh to help open it up. And as I said, you would stay here for 60 seconds, for 3 minutes, for 5 minutes. Most of us have smartphones with stopwatches, and so you can just put it on there and set it, or you can set the timer. If you say, I'm going to go for 5, put the timer on for 5 and then just wait for it to go off. You will want to breathe. And breathe into wherever you feel that sensation. Like for me, the sensation is right out here on the outer hip. And so if it's starting to really get to be a lot, I'm going to just imagine my breath going right into that spot where it feels really tight. And that actually helps to bring some awareness to it and give it a little more extra release. So I'm going to switch then. Same thing. I'm going to bring the left ankle over onto my right thigh. And you can see that my knee is a lot closer to my body here. So I'm just going to, again, put my forearm on there in a way that I can just rest it. I'm not pushing actively, although you could, if you want to, give it a little zhuzh. But I'm just going to sit here and let my forearm do the work and allow that to open up. So once you've done that, we're going to move on to jackknife. And I'm going to move to this side so you can see what I'm doing up against the wall. So here what we're going to do is get a really good stretch for the psoas muscle, for the leg that's up against the wall, and then a nice opening up forward of the hip for the leg that is forward. So sort of the first thing to do is to bring your knee as close as you can to the wall, and then just rest that lower leg up against the wall. If you don't have a lot of cushion underneath, I would put a towel or a blanket or something folded up so that you can give your knee that cushion that it needs. And I'm going to back off a little bit because I got to bring this foot out. So I'm going to bring this foot out so I can make a right angle with my thigh and my lower leg. Bring this knee back toward the wall as close as I can, and that's about as close as I'm going to get. A cushion is a really great thing. You can go ahead and use that to sort of give yourself some support, or you can use your fists or your hands to support yourself. I like to have the elbows on the leg, gives my wrist a break. So hold this again as long as you can tolerate it. 60 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes if you really are trying to go for the maximum benefit. And then you want to do the other side. So bring that knee in, bring this leg up so you can see it from this side. And then I've got my cushion to give me some support. So trying to keep that right angle. It's usually a good idea to make sure your knee does not go forward of the ankle because that puts a lot of extra torque on the knee. So trying to keep it sort of a nice right angle. And you'll find that if you're going to hold these stretches for a long period of time, that your body may start to give a little bit and you'll start to see that ankle move or that knee move. So you want to bring that ankle back out so you can support those joints and keep them safe. So that's your second posture. The third is sort of an extreme lunge. It's called lizard pose. And I'll show you how it works from this direction so you can see it, and then I'll do it face on. So again, you want to keep that right angle with the knee, and you're going to spread out the back leg as far as you can. Your top of your foot's going to be on the floor. So I'll do it facing you head on. So I've got my cushion again because the same principle applies. I'll have this right angle. I'll have the legs spread out as far as I can with the top of the foot on the floor. And then I'm going to just hang out. And if your knee splays out a little bit, that's okay. It's not a real problem. But try to see if you can keep your neck and spine long. If it gets to be too much, you can sort of drop and get a little release in the neck. That's really nice too. Sometimes people like to add that to get that extra neck stretch. Or you can try to keep the spine nice and long and just look forward. And then the other side. And again, you might find that one side is a little more challenging than the other. You might find that you can go into a deeper lunge on one side. Maybe you're going to come all the way down to the ground and do your lunge. So you just figure out what works for you, what feels good, and every day could be different. Hips are tighter some days than others. And so just pay attention to what feels good in your body. Every day, listen to your body, respect its wisdom, and do what it's asking for you to do, and don't do what doesn't feel good. So last thing I'm going to do is a squat, which is one of the scariest yoga poses for many people because if your hips are tight, getting down to that squat can be super difficult. So there's a lot of ways to do it so it's supportive and you can actually achieve the squat and get the benefits of it. So one of the difficulties people have is that the muscles in the back of the legs, especially the lower legs, are tight, and so they can't keep their feet flat on the floor and get down into that squat position. So what you can do is take your mat and roll it up and give yourself something to support your heel. And I'll turn this way so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to use the rolled up mat to support my heels. I'm going to have my cushion here because you can use the cushion to support yourself in your squat. So I'm going to put my heels on the mat. That feels about right. And then, so you can stay like this in your squat. Now in terms of your feet, you want your feet slightly turned out, just a little bit, 10 or 15 degrees maybe. And then you can take your cushion and use the cushion as a little bit of a support as you sit here in your squat. If it's really, and you can adjust how wide you want. You may want to move your legs wider apart so that you can bring your elbows in between your knees, and that will put a little extra stretch on your knees. So I just sort of have the pillow there. I'm just barely resting on it, not actually sitting on it. But if you need to sit on it, you can. The other thing you can do to support yourself is if this really is a struggle and you're not getting down this far, even with the support of a cushion is difficult, you can bring a chair and you can sort of lean forward and put some of the balance difficulty out of it and lean on the chair so that you can do that for your squat. And again, 60 seconds, 3 minutes, 5 minutes if you really want to rock your hips. So I hope you give these a try, and I would love to know what you think. If you try them for, like, say, 14 days, let's say, do it every day. Bedtime is what I recommend because some of these things can be really difficult first thing in the morning because most of us are stiffest in the morning as we first get out of bed. The other benefit I found with doing these at night is it really it just kind of wrings the tension out of your body that you've accumulated over the course of the day. And I find that I sleep better when I do these before I go to bed. So I might do like a 3-minute version, which means it will take me maybe 20 minutes to do all of these. But it's just, and you can even, you can do it as you would do your normal yoga practice, you can do it for the meditative purposes of it, for the meditative benefits of it. But you also, if you're someone who watches TV before you go to bed, you can do them while you're watching TV and just breathe through any sensations you're having. So give them a try and let me know what you think.